welcome. We are live. What's going on, friends? Namaste. Satnam. My name is Stormie Calder. In this video, I'm going to take you guys through an April Ascension energy update. For this time period, also like regardless of whenever you land on this video, time and energy are synonymous. You will get the message that you are meant to receive from your highest self and your higher guardians. So please know that I am being guided by one of my favorite crystals, this beautiful amethyst. And I'm going to do the channel today with my Bodhisattva self, with my Rishi in the hierarchy of the soul. It's like the largest, most evolved portion of the soul. And I said this in the last video too. You guys are welcome to watch, but it has taken me a very long time to raise my frequency to the point where I can receive very easy fluid access and communication with the Bodhisattva version of my soul, with the Rishi version of my soul. The thing about the Rishis is they are genderless. But my Rishi took on a feminine form for me. She was masculine first when I started working with her, and then switched over to a feminine entity type for me because that's where I required the most trust and healing with my connection to source. So they're really beautiful. God love how the soul shows up in all of the ways. Now, the thing about the Rishi, I guess I'm going to do a little education with you guys here before I jump in. The thing about the Rishi is that it is your soul, but like it is you, but it's not you. And that's the really cool thing about the hierarchy of the soul is it's so familiar. Like it is you, but its personality is not you. But there are aspects of the personality, because you're in the same soul lineage, that take on an expression in likeness of you. So this version, this part of my soul hierarchy, I would say, she is like the most badass, peaceful. like she takes this part of my soul takes absolutely zero no shit, but like is so relaxed about it. Like when I bring problems to her, or when I see like cosmic problems that are being dealt with that are huge, I'm just like, how are you dealing with that? She's like, yeah, I got it. I'm just like, what? Those are big problems. And she's like, I got big solutions. It's just, I don't know. It's really cool. Perhaps I'll talk more about the Rishi as I develop more of a relationship with my Rishi and with my Bodhisattva moving forward. The Bodhisattva is like the Buddha version of the self. So Buddha, I believe, was or is like the most elevated state of his soul that was incarnated. And in this case, I'm channeling that most elevated state of me that is very integrated into my character because of how I absorb consciousness and because I focus so much on integration. And it's also what she has taken on as a dominant frequency is integration and is atonement. She gave me the name Aropa. That's what she asks me to call her, which is atonement in Sanskrit. So I know that that's her mission and the mission that she's constantly molding me into and teaching me into. Now at this point, which comes down to like making the right choices. Morally, like making the right choices. How do you know what's a right choice versus a wrong choice? You experiment, you fuck around and find out, and then you try not to do that again because you learn. And you learn through the process of going through the cycles of being willing to be a child. And I asked her for specifics for this video to jump into for themes, and she said, Stormie, be the child today. Let me take over. Just let me take over. Let the higher power do its job. And I think there are a lot of us that just either grew up too fast, were forced to grow up quickly in our upbringings, in our childhoods, and like we just forget that there is a higher power. And there's always a higher power than the higher power. So what I find, I hope this is helpful for some of you, what I find for myself, because my consciousness is so expansive, is that I often one-up the higher powers, and I don't mean to. It's just that there's a point where once you can consciously sync up to whatever form of higher power you're syncing up to, you then can challenge them. And once you start challenging them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they're no longer the higher power. what I've been finding through my journey is I struggle with this because I want a higher power. But because of how I expand my consciousness, and it's very natural, it would be very hard for me to stop doing this. I naturally challenge the higher power. And it's not from a position of trying to, it's not from a position of ego where I really want to, it's just how my consciousness expands. And what's really beautiful, what allows me to relax, that might be helpful for some of you that are more strong-minded or very strong spiritually, is that there's always another higher. So if I max out one of my higher powers, and I'm going to tell you guys, the Bodhisattva version of my soul, Aropa, is my higher power. And I do occasionally max her out. And then she always gives me a choice. And it's really cool. She's like, you can either be the child or the parent. And she said, we swap these roles all the time. So she's like, you could be mama bear, you could be baby bear. She was like, I'm baby bear a lot. She's like, I'm learning from you a lot. When she's learning from me, it's a little bit harder for me to lean on her as a higher power. And the beauty about the benevolence about our soul work is that higher power will allow you to trade roles so that you can feel what it is to take too much responsibility and then take your foot off the gas, you know, or take too little responsibility and feel like you have guides and angelics just like slamming shit down your throat. Like, get it together. You have to learn this lesson or we're going to make your life a living hell. Like, trust me, they'll do that. It depends on which side of the scale you're on. But there's always a higher. So in my meditation today, I wasn't challenging her on purpose, but we were kind of seeing eye to eye in a really, really level way. And I ended up extending some teaching, some wisdom in a way. And I don't do this on purpose. Like, it's just literally like my consciousness expands in the way that it does. I think some of you that do a lot of very intense spiritual work, this will be pretty normal, actually. We do it naturally. Those of us that are running high consciousness behind the scenes subconsciously. And what was really cool this morning is that the next higher power stepped in. It was actually 2 steps above. There are many different Godheads. If you want to learn more about all of this, before I actually dive in deeper, let me introduce you guys to the source code framework. It's my monthly membership platform for those of you that are seeking, that are students of the divine, that want to learn about how the cosmos works, learn about how the natural forces of creation work, learn about shamanism, learn about how to combine all of it, and learn how to keep your little mind together while you're expanding at a really rapid rate in consciousness. Understanding how to become the creator of your reality. I'm going to be doing it through sharing lots of streams and videos, bite-sized videos, which are just like my cosmic walks. Like when I'm walking, I'm now shooting videos on things that I'm thinking and uploading them into the platform. Post things to think about. Let me actually look real quick and then we'll dive right back into my stream here. It's a monthly membership where I'm keeping you up spiritually. My higher guidance team and my structure of higher power support is actually keeping you up within your own energetic practice. How do I explain this? It's like subconscious energy work. You're stepping into my vortex, my vortex of creation, my vortex of creator status. It's really my womb space, but I kind of pass that. I'm like, I don't want to hold everybody in my womb space. Like that's kind of funky. So I pass that back up to my higher power, who's also holding a feminine entity, archetypal pattern for me, so that I don't have to do it all myself. But I will be doing live pop-up video streams and readings. If you guys have ever wanted to have readings with me, as we move through the months together, I'm going to be doing this through the end of the year. I will be doing pop-up readings for the group as well. So very exciting on all the things. Go check out the landing page. I have a lot to say about it. This program is here to make ascension work easy. Spirit demanded it of me. The elements of creation all came forward and were like, you need to create this. It needs to be called the source code. And we're going to be streaming through the real source to teach people how to become their creatrix powers, rather than having to lean on the matrix of thought and belief that was installed into the human consciousness. So it's a really safe awakening program. I have an amazing pay in full bonus as well. If you pay in full, I'll give you access to Break the Mold, complimentary. And I'm not going to go into too much farther in depth right now because I want to honor that you guys are here for the April video. I will probably talk about this at the end of the stream, so stay tuned if you're interested, but I'll leave a link in the description below where you can learn more all about it. You can sign up now. We started a couple of days ago. And there's a month-to-month option, and there's a 9-month commitment as well to take this through the end of the year, because we are at April's just the start. This is the rest of the year is on fire, and we have to figure out how to put out those fires and ascend faster than the problems that are coming spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically for all of humanity, and more specifically those that are rapidly awakening. So let me think real quick. Aropa, do you want to weigh in now? How would you like to do this stream? She said, let's start first with the biggest theme that's happening, okay, is that we're in a time of massive human spiritual awakening. Massive. A huge amount of the planet, I don't know literally how large that is, but a big portion of people are waking up instantaneously, spontaneously. What does that mean? It means that all of these people that were working are focused on autopilot, thinking they just go to a job, they just do this thing, they just eat this food, are now starting to realize that they're a soul in a human body. Is that wonderful? Yes. Fun. What's not wonderful about it? It's actually like not. Like for us spiritual workers, it's like kind of a nightmare. It is exciting, but for any of you that remember when you started to wake up, there's nothing exciting about it. It's a terror show. It's a lot of dark nights of the soul. It's a lot of crises. It's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of difficulty in the process of spontaneous awakening. There's all of a sudden a realization that all of your relationships are no longer supporting you. How do you manage that? How do you deal with that? There's usually a changing of homes or a changing of jobs or leaving relationships. There's understanding what it is to be psychologically abused. Everyone goes through these patterns when they go to wake up, which is why I have the program, the source code, to help people to wake up in a way that's like massaging you out of a deep sleep instead of jolting you awake with a nightmare. And part of mass spiritual awakening, as exciting that it is, and it's very exciting, is a mass spiritual carnal takeover. For all of the light traits, there are, for all of the angelic, there's the fallen angelic. When we have a mass spiritual awakening, we also have a mass karmic sweeping through, putting everybody to sleep as quickly as possible. There's mass dark forces. And she's asking me to take you through, I'm not going to go through any level of detail, but just like the last 3 weeks have been terrorizing for me spiritually. Like I'm in just straight deliverance. Like I'm praying like 6 times a day for deliverance, because it's just the level through which the energies have turned over for this time, because the eclipses and moving in through April is like, yes, there are big sweeping bright vibrant energies, and they are all in spiritual warfare at the highest levels. The Most High is at war right now, and every level of the high underneath is at war. The planet Earth is at war spiritually. What I could tell you to do, we'll get into this a little bit more through this stream, but to alleviate some of the pain, even on Earth, because the consciousness of Gaia is at war, and she is she's like a woman with a machine gun spiritually. I am just like not really tapping into her stream right now, because she's very, very angry. And she's taking it out on just about everything. Now, her heartbeat, Gaia's heart, is steady as ever. Just don't listen to the astral plane. Her mind is going 1,000,000 miles an hour in a lot of directions that you don't want anything to do with. And that's all the cosmic talk. So, Gaia, just like any planet, any consciousness, has a mind and has a heart. Her mind is at war. I'm not even going to go into it. Her heart is settled. Her heart is secure. Her heart is loving. How do you get access to Gaia's heart? And how do you settle your own heart in the process? Because that's what you're doing by getting access to the heart of the planet, which is your home, while you're here in this incarnation, is you go into nature and you pray with the planet. On the solar eclipse, I put a little post up for you guys. I got a download on how to move the energy through. So we can transmute and alchemically transmute the energies ourselves, both darkness and light, but it's getting to be way too much. So I'm an expert at this work. And like I said, I'm praying 6 times a day to be delivered from evil, because it's literally just like everywhere. Everywhere. Now, what's evil? Fallen angels, dark forces, evil forces, the darker elements on the planet, the darker elementals, all trying to just twist the mind in every direction to make you think that you're poisoned. It's like making you question your reality in absolutely every way and question faith. And I've never felt it to this level ever before. It's so intense. And I can usually escape out of it by clearing stuff up myself. And it's so heavy that I have to enlist help now to alleviate demonic forces. So one of the ways you can do that, part of the channel that came through for the solar eclipse last week, is that the trees, the spiritual mission of the trees, every tree on the planet, is to take that negativity from you and transmute it through her roots, or his roots. Like, trees actually can go both masculine and feminine. You don't have to take this stuff on yourself. You can give it up to higher power, and it likely will have to happen several times a day. And you'll know if you're being spiritually attacked because you get negative. You get negative more and more and more, and then you start to believe that negativity is being your reality. Or you start to attract a lot of negativity and you don't know why. Well, it's on high. It's on high alert right now. All of the negative forces of the planet effectively were bound into the planet and have now been released. And they're all up in the ether and they're taunting everyone. They're terrorizing everyone. And I say it like that because it's terrible. It's terrorizing. Like, another theme for you guys for April is going to be pay attention to your dreams. Do protection work before you go to sleep. There's a lot of karmic and soul hijacking overnight. Like, it's terrorizing. I'm not even going to lie. And I haven't had to deal with this stuff since much earlier in my awakening journey. And like, I'm praying for my soul every night to be at peace and to be held by my higher power every single night when I go to sleep, because that's how much terror is happening across the astral plane. There were weeks where I finally just have been getting some sleep the last few days, but for the last 3-4 weeks, I had my cosmic guardians waking me up between 3 and 5 in the morning, like with terrorizing timelines, like terror, like just absolute fear. And this is not just me. This is why I'm sharing this with you. I always love to share with you guys my experience, because then you can see what it's like to do this awakening work and understand it from someone that's doing a very high level of work, but you guys are experiencing it. It's just like, how much are you paying attention to? What I would do is get a big piece of tourmaline, something black, just a black crystal or a black obsidian, and put it beneath your bed and cleanse it with sage every week. And ask that helps to anchor your astral body back into your body. Before you go to sleep every night, I would say a gentle little prayer to your higher power that you are protected, that your soul is protected. There's an insane amount of soul swapping going on astrally, an insane amount. Now, there are a couple of, like, I'm not going to go into detail. Maybe I will in my program source code, though. There are a couple of cosmic catch-alls happening at the universal level that I may have had something to do with for some of the soul swapping, so that we get an opportunity to come back into body if there was a mistake done. I'm telling you, these cosmic dark forces are at a level of insanity. Because you know why? Because they're losing. They're losing. So right now, I just saw 1919, whoever needs that. They're losing. So there's like a real fight right now. It's huge, like just cosmic deliverance. I don't know the astrology behind it, but it might be something to look into as well. I believe this has something to do with Rahu. Rahu, is that a planet? Or a force. It has to do with like the demonic forces of the universe and how they are, like, Satan is just confronting God right now. And I don't typically use terms like this. I typically go more metaphysical as opposed to like more angel versus demon. But honestly, the way that I've been reading everything the last several months, cosmically, energetically, and through my own ascension work, is the more simple you make it, the better. Because could we say it's the darkness of nature, the darker powers that are running the show? Is it the human powers that create collective consciousness that do that, says and this, or is it like demonic forces from malevolent starseed entities? Like, yeah, it's all of it. But you know what? It's way too complicated if we identify each strand. This is honestly good versus evil. A fight for light. And it is a fight on this planet that is being blown up cosmically. So Earth is under judgment on whether or not she and humanity are going to ascend or fall. And there's a bit of a conflict in the minds and hearts of the starseeds of the planet of the Most High. There's a mind-heart disconnect across everyone. And those that are truly, I'll call good or righteous, are really balanced. They're the ones that when they're confronted with the conflict, whether at the human level or cosmically, will course correct. And that's how you can know what's safe, is being able to see when someone's out of balance, correct their mistakes and come back into balance. That's the atonement. Atonement is the theme, not only for April, but for the rest of the year. It is this season. It's atonement. It's the morality of your decisions. It's understanding karma. Judgment's here for all of us. This is a big, I don't know exactly what it actually sounds like as I'm reading through the frequencies. It's a universal judgment, a universal decision when we change from one big age to another big age. So I'm trying to remember, we were in the Piscean age and we did shift into the Aquarian age. So it does sound like, I'm like, not to ease this up, but I am easing it up in the way that I'm trying to say, like, we're in the transition period of the times, and that transition will likely be our entire lifetime. But it's really like that condensed into this 10-year cycle we're in right now. And when we switch from one age to another age, there's judgment. There's judgment for everything, absolutely everything. And there's just nothing fun about judgment. I don't know. I guess it's fun if it's in your favor, but even those of us that are righteous and that act well, like, cosmic dark forces are real. And just because you did things the right way doesn't mean things are going in your favor either. And that's the thing. Like, there's a little fight needed right now. Advocacy, human advocacy is really important. Advocacy for the self and others. You know, if you follow the last stream that Aropa took us through, it was understanding true love from the position of advocacy. So what is love truly? What is true love? Other than being rare, 2323, we are now balanced. I saw 1919 before. These are constant balance themes. Judgment, you know, balance. It's shadow and light. It's masculine, it's feminine. Power and love. Truth and love. And so true love is about speaking the truth and knowing that the truth is love. And love is what the truth needs for protection. She's also asking me to go through some of the gender dynamics right now because I think we mix some of this up. And with the powers of the universe, we switch in rhythm. So the universe works in a dance. Consciousness works in a dance. And that dance shifts partners occasionally, depending on the season. So there's the masculine dancing with the feminine. There's the darkness dancing with the light. There's the earthly qualities or the human dancing with the cosmic God. There's the universal forces, the Most High, dancing with the architect. It always goes higher and higher and higher, and depending on where you are and which high frequency you need will be the overriding high frequency that you can submit to. And I do recommend submitting to something, because it's never good to be in the most high position as a human. That's what I would say. Just be conscious about what you're submitting to, and don't submit to anything that doesn't feel right, because there are a lot of trickster gods. There are a lot of like godhead god figures cosmically that are actually Satanists. And they wear the clothes that God would wear, or they speak the way that God would speak. But here's a little key for you guys, as you're either, those of you that are mediums, or if you're just dealing with humans even, and you're trying to navigate your own reality, the way you can tell Satan versus God truly, because sometimes they really do look the same. They really do. It's just like, you have to have an expert level of discernment. So how do you tell evil forces? I'm going to call it Satan, because that's what my guides have been saying. They've just been making it really simplistic. Like, they're not even like negative thinking, although that's what they're like, Satan. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. They made it really good, dark, black, white for me, so that I can see when I'm starting to get into the wrong territory. So I'm going to speak in terms of what my guards and my guardians have relayed to me, but I'm just telling you as the human, like, I don't care. Like, do I believe in Satan? I just believe in forces. Like, I don't know. I just believe in dark forces. But they've asked me to speak in terms of God versus Satan, because it just makes it easier for human consciousness to latch onto the archetypal pattern, to understand it more quickly than me trying to wash it out and make it more metaphysically oriented in a way that I prefer, if that makes sense. There's just too many themes that are working through judgment right now, through the mind. It has to be black and white so that we can sort as quickly as possible. There are just too many threads of consciousness, too many threads of darkness, too many threads of conflict that need to be sorted quickly. So this isn't just me, this is all of you. And really it's happening subconsciously, and then some of it's coming up into your conscious awareness and conscious mind. And some of this also might be a little bit delayed. You might see this in the next several months. I'm always at the forefront of the curve. So when the forces start to shift, or when they start to argue and be in severe conflict, I feel it viscerally and immediately, because I'm so tapped into the forces of creation, and both above and below. I work with the shamanic forces on the planet, both dark and light, and I work with the cosmic forces above, both dark and light. And I'm managing, no wonder why this has been a challenge for me recently. It's like learning how to fly a helicopter. I'm managing 4 wings of independently breaking patterns of consciousness and making new decisions about how I can possibly navigate with that much consciousness. The more conscious you become, you'd think things become easier. The truth is, it actually becomes very complex, and the mind's ability to understand becomes so complex that my solution, and I feel like many of you that are rich thinkers will probably take the same route, is we just like sit back, and I'm just like, let peace run the show, because that's just a lot. And I've had to filter so much through, and I think you guys are probably doing this just more subconsciously, maybe in your dream state. I've had to filter so much through my consciousness in the last 4 weeks, especially in the last 2 weeks, that I'm just letting go, and I'm like, I'm sure it'll unfold in the way that it needs to, in the most natural pace, mentally, energetically, spiritually, practically, emotionally, and physically, but I just can't see it right now, and I'm not going to bully this into place. And if you kind of just sit back a little bit and just allow the shit show of whatever's stepping forward to step forward, whether it's judgment of past belief patterns, whether it's you observing your habits and patterns, whether it's you observing other people around you and their habits and patterns, whether or not you find that to be supportive of you or not. Awakening's not an easy process. It's the spiritual awakening, like, people paint it to be like really beautiful, and it is really beautiful, but it also can just feel like being slammed with a ton of bricks over and over and over and over again, until you just look up and you go, I just don't know what reality is. Like, where am I supposed to root myself? The more spiritual awakening one does, the more aware and awake one becomes, the more one sits back and says, that does look like a crisis, and that was a lot of awakening for me, and I'm not sure where to root myself into my reality right now. That was a big challenge for my identity. And I'm just going to sit back and allow it to unfold, because it always will reorganize itself. If you can't understand all of the things that are happening in your environment, all of the cosmic ways that you're being asked to transcend your reality, these are just big aha moments, big realizations, like the realization of being in a relationship that's the wrong relationship, or the realization that you're gonna have to make a career change, or losing your job overnight, or having really difficult family situations, like the things that really break open and challenge your idea of reality and your identity. And those things happen in tandem. Instead of panicking, and I've gone through so many of these moments that this truly is my advice for you, that is integrated from experience. Instead of panicking, just take your hands off the wheel. Don't anxiety yourself into a pit. Don't make it mean whatever the aha moments are coming through, whatever realizations you're having, which are spiritual, but they are often negative, is what I'll say. They are often confronting. And by negative, it's the truth is not always pleasant. We'll put it that way, right? Take your hands off the wheel. Okay? Don't try to make it make sense. The trying to make it make sense is what will take your consciousness and your power and drive yourself into a dirt pit. You'll spin out. You'll stall. What does that mean with your consciousness? It means you'll lose a day, you'll lose a week, you'll feel crazy, you won't feel good. You'll eat a lot of junk food because you'll just try to stuff your emotions down. You'll drink yourself into oblivion. You won't be able to sleep. Pill popping. Like there are so many, like how many more ways do you want? Like severe depression episodes, suicidal thoughts. Like there are so many ways humans can spin out because of what is a spiritual awakening that we often don't realize is a spiritual awakening. We just call it like bad karma. And it's not really the case. It's just, that's the rhythm, the dance, the flow of creation is to be asleep and then to wake up, and then to be asleep and to wake up, and to be asleep and to wake up. The night and then the day, and then the night and the day, and the moon and the stars and the sun. The sun comes out, depending on your mood, it can be like, oh my gosh, it's a bright new day. Or it could be like, MFer, it's burning my skin. I hate this. It's too bright. It's too much. Icarus flew too close to the sun and his wings fell off and he fell to his death. Like, it depends on your perspective. Okay? The night can be beautiful. It can be luminous. It can get you in touch with yourself and your spirituality and your femininity. Or it could be a night terror. My sleep schedule has been a nightmare for 4 weeks because my guides have been night terroring me. On purpose? I don't know. I don't think it's been on purpose. And I think some of you are going to be encountering some level of this. It's that the spiritual war is going all the way up. And the spiritual war is also happening to our guides. And then how they handle it, depending on their levels of consciousness or our soul contracts with them. I just had forces of nature coming, waking me up, and I'm not even going to go into the specifics. It's just, well, I'll save it for a children's book. Can you imagine? I'm going to save it for a children's book one day, where I talk about the monsters of creation that come to visit you while you're sleeping, jostle your bed awake. Go, wake up! And I'm like, I don't want to wake up, you're terrorizing me. Like, I need to sleep, I'm human. And they're like, we need your help. And I'm like, I'm human. Go find someone that can handle this shit who's not human. And they're like, you're not that human. And I'm like, really? I think I'm human. I'm pretty sure I'm human. Stop bothering me. I'll go into another channel on setting boundaries with spirit because it is very necessary at every level, whether it's ancestors that just bug the living hell out of you, or whether it's angels, whether it's higher spirits because they want to learn from you, or they just want to entertain you, or they want to take up all your time because they got nothing to do up there. Are you kidding? Not nothing. They have things to do, but it's that they don't have to pay their way physically. So they're like, yeah, sure, I'll waste your time. I had a guide, not recently, but I had a guide like literally waste my time on purpose. She was like, well, you've got time. And I was like, I don't have time. And she was like, well, you're not telling me to go away, so I'm going to waste your time. And I'm like, this is my point. for you guys to understand, like spiritually, this is what's up in the air right now. Spirit is spirit. It is imperfect. It is just as imperfect as our humanity. And that's where we have to learn the discernment of our choices versus the choices that are projected upon us, whether it's from some version of God or some version of dark forces or the people around you, through which these two polarized forces are working through at all times. God and demonic possession, or Satan, are the co-intelligent forces that are working through every person. And how do you know who to trust or what to trust? Well, first you have to become a person of integrity to know what to trust. What do you trust about you? What's your character behind closed doors? And then you have to learn how to invite people of integrity around you and actually watch their actions, watch what they say, watch what they do. What do they do when people are looking? What do they do when people aren't looking? And that's how you figure out whether or not somebody's in the light or the dark. Because there's a lot of forced light manipulation where there's a lot of, again, Europa is saying to me, there's satanic forces, but they're being masked as light. So you end up getting involved in the light. It's like being in a cult. You get involved in the light and you're like, oh my God, it's all light. But actually it was just Satan in a different robe. And sometimes, they're telling me the flip script is like, sometimes God doesn't look that sexy. Sometimes God is the test of a homeless person on the street that's just like, are you going to respect them or are you going to demean them? We live in a very, very interesting world. I guess what's coming through is, what can you trust? What you can trust is your ability to make the right choices. Your ability to have your own authority, your sovereignty, and your own agency. Which means you need to exercise that agency using your own personal authority with source, your power without forcing, source not force, without forcing, without manipulating anyone or anything around you. And can you manage that? And can you correct your mistakes along the way, learn from them, come back into balance with the forces, because these forces are always working. So what's another way I can say the dark forces? Dark forces, okay, they're really working overtime right now. And the light forces are getting angry. They're taking on kind of darker traits because they have to defend. They're in a position of defense or offense, depending on which force you're talking to, which God, source, power, force of nature, what have you, angel, guardian. Okay, hang on. Europa, would you like to take back over here and just steer our stream? She is steering, but I'm just bringing it back to her because I saw myself going off in another direction. Here's what you need to know. The dream is not just a dream, it is your reality. Pay attention to your dreams. You're being spoken to cosmically. What's working through in the dream space is the precursor of the subconscious darker energetics that are working within your human consciousness in conflict before they come into light. Please pay attention to your dream space. It is when we have the most access to you in your subconscious patterning. When you wake up, if you know you had a dream or remember it, write it down. Think about it. Contemplate it. This is your higher power in service to helping your humanity make better decisions. And by humanity, we mean you personally, your human consciousness, make better decisions to keep you out of the ruts of hell. There are too many ruts right now for everyone, including the higher forces. Everyone's navigating like, oh shoot, what's the right way? What's the right path? I thought that was the right path, and then there was a demon there lurking behind the scenes that screwed up my whole entire trajectory. So now I have to go back. It's almost like a video game. I have to go back down the trail the way I came and then go back to the original decision and go, okay, I have to make a new decision. That path didn't work. What's the new path? And then make the new decision and try to evolve yourselves mentally and emotionally as quickly as you possibly can. Because the risks of not evolving quickly are you will be forever stuck on that track. We're in a high judgment period, not just cosmically at the human level. This is huge karmic judgment. It's coming down like slamming doors on everyone. So if you made a mistake, backtrack now. Figure it out now. Don't wait another year. This is a now thing. This is a very, very now thing. I'm also seeing the time on my clock and PST is 4:28, and they're telling me that's a date signature. So by April 28th, oh, they did say this to me earlier. Okay, so by April 28th, there's something about a cosmic portal, a cosmic judgment, for the path that you're on karmically. What you can receive in this lifetime, what you won't receive in this lifetime. This was a big karmic closure point for a lot of people, for all people. How you navigate this closure, moving into the new chapter, dictates the entire energetics of the new chapter, of the new journey. You're about to start a new journey as a soul in a human body, like quite literally. And you're closing out the previous level. How you close out the previous level and how you start this next journey will dictate the rest of your life. And that's why this is coming through with such a level of veracity. It's like a vortex. It's like a storm. It's a cosmic storm. It's a cosmic recoding, a rewiring of your mental matrix of thought. The way you can think about consciousness is how you think, what you believe, what mental addiction patterns do you have, how do you give into them, how quickly do you come back to balance, how quickly can you resolve your bullshit thinking. This is karma. If we look at it as the mental landscape, the landscape of the mind like a computer code program, once you start the journey of a negative thought or belief pattern, how quickly do you have to complete the journey, or do you have to see many, many, many cycles of it in order to create some level of closure where you feel like you finally learned the lesson? Or can you learn the lesson really quickly by realizing that it was a 3% deviation, and then once you start deviating, you start to feel poorly about your decisions in that direction, or you start to attract negative synchronicities, which are showing you that that's not the right path. Like, how quickly are you going to pay attention to that before you backtrack and come back to source, back to center? Most humans are terrible at this process too, and this is being shown as like they're giving you some more cosmic access right now. Multidimensionally is what I'm being told, to kind of help alleviate this and bring some awareness to this process. She's also, let me check it. Do you want me to tell them about that experience? Yes. Okay, so she's telling me to share a little bit about my first ayahuasca experience. A few years ago, I learned this lesson really, really loudly. So I'm a very mental person. My spiritual work is very mental. It's why I channel so avidly and actively. And spirituality doesn't have to be a mental experience. It could be an emotional experience primarily. It could be a more connective based, physical. Mine is primarily mental. And my first ayahuasca trip, here's what I learned, okay? The way that ayahuasca breaks down is into segments when you drink the liquid, the tea. So like for each ounce, I had like a whole segment of a journey. And one of the journeys was, I was like, I think really clearly and I think really fast. And grandmother ayahuasca took me through my thinking patterns so that I can see them very clearly. So like she gave me a problem in my consciousness and I thought my way through one path. And I was like, okay, cool. And then once that was resolved, it was like a geometric prism, a ball with all of these different sides. Once one facet was resolved mentally, the next facet opened up, the next version of the problem. And then I was like, okay, I can solve this one too. And then I was like, pa, 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 and then I would solve it. This is like a karmic closure mentally, once you can complete that single cycle. And then another facet came up for the same problem. And I did this like for 2 hours, and I'm not even kidding you. I just like went around and around, 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 around. And by the time I was done with the trip, and this was the whole point of this trip, I was like, oh my God, you can't solve the problem from the thinking that created it. You just can't. You can't. It's an impossibility, because the problem is so complex mentally that it becomes a complex. It becomes a neurotic behavior. And that's when I was like, She's asking me to share this story because it relates to how humans typically think, especially humans that have strong egos or have strong minds. 4, 4, 4, 4 on my timer. That think the mind is the home, because very frequently for a lot of us, the mind is the home, and then we have to merge both the mind and the heart and the body, right? And the soul, and bring it all together, which is the 4. It's the pillars of 4. It's coming home into the self and into the body and into your physicality. Okay, so she took me through just all of these ascension cycles, mental ascension cycles, so that I could problem solve my way out of every mental complex. And I'm very good at that. I can solve my way through every mental complex. I'm very fast about it. I do it throughout the day. It's actually how I solve a lot of my karma, because a lot of my karma is mental karma. So when mental thoughts come up, I race through them to get to the end, to get to resolve, and that's how I can release. Now, my thing, and maybe some of you guys relate, is like, it's like, okay, well, don't fill it back up with another problem. Like, so that I have to race to complete another problem again mentally. God knows I love puzzles, like mental puzzles, like it's, the consciousness work that has been done over the last few weeks, the way that the light is coming into the planet has been so intense that I've just given up in the best way. It's the best form of surrender. I'm just like, I can't possibly process all of this mentally. It's too much. So I'm just like, I'll just focus on breathing, maybe a little fasting. And I think I'm just going to choose to be happy. How's that? That's the medicine right now. So if you find yourself like not being able to figure your reality out, there's too many problems going on, too many crises, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional, whether it's literal in your environment, like you can literally just be like, this is too much. I'm giving it up to higher power. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to choose to be happy anyway. And I'm going to allow the problems to solve themselves, for they will. They will. They always do. When you do let higher powers come in and stir that pot, when you don't solve all those problems yourself, higher power then has to start working the energy through and solve those problems for you. And what I find a lot of the time is that if I sit back and just allow that mental process to just, I mean, I do work a lot of it through to completion, but when it is too much, and right now it's way too much, I'm just like, okay, why don't you complete it for me? And I'm going to focus on specific strands of it to complete myself. But the rest is just too much right now. And I'm just going to have to assume that my judgment will be positive. And then from that stance, it's shifting into the belief of the heart, of the sacred heart, and claiming the sacred heart and saying, I have enough belief to carry my soul and my human through this experience, no matter what this experience is physically, no matter what it's teaching me, no matter how much pain I'm in, no matter how much pain the people around me are in. I trust that it's going to work out. And the thing that I find when I'm channeling with my guides, and I'm teaching my guides as much as they're teaching me, and you'll find that the more channeling work you do, that's the case. What always surprises my guardians about me is that there is a point where I just release my hands and say, I just trust that it's gonna work out. And they're like, but we don't have the solution yet. And I'm like, yeah, I just trust that it'll come. I trust that and my problems are very, very complex. My spiritual problems are very, very complex. That's why I'm so good at helping so many people, is because I have the most complex spiritual issues, and some of us have much more complex issues than others. It depends on how old your soul is, how many lifetimes you've had. My soul's archaic. The allegiances I have cosmically, it's just like, it's complex. And a lot of my clients do have complex problems, and I help them navigate said complex problems where spirit might need a little bit extra belief from us, from the human, to be able to find the route through for the puzzle. Think about them like puzzles. Like the Jenga, I don't know, it's just a puzzle. It's like a Rubik's Cube, where spirit is actively working to solve the puzzle. And the puzzle is whatever problem you're encountering right now. And there's always a problem. That problem could just be an opportunity you see. Like, I'm looking to manifest this life, and spirit's like, okay. And depending on how far you are from that solution, spirit's like, working this Rubik's Cube over and over and over and over and over again until the fucking colors match up. Okay? And sometimes that could take a day, sometimes it could take a month, sometimes it could take 10 years. I don't know. I think we're all on our very specific journeys, and I think you do really have to trust, as simple as that statement is. It's trusting the dance, again, bringing it back, trusting the dance, trusting the rhythm, trusting the harmony. Trusting that when it's dark, it's going to become light. Trusting that when it's light, there's going to be a point where it moves over to the darkness. And trusting your ability, again, what I was saying earlier, is to come back to center. How much time does it take you to realize you're out of balance and to come back? Back, 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 back. I've been in a lot of spiritual conflicts recently, not with humans. Literally up there. And it's almost easier to handle humans. And I think that's what I've been taught, is that when you're in that level of spiritual 5D conflict or spiritual warfare, it's almost harder to come back to center because they are your center. So what happens when the center's off center? What happens when your guardians are off center? How quickly, depending on, many of you won't have to deal with this as a problem, but maybe you do. Maybe your guardians are physical guardians. Maybe you are a guardian to other humans. Maybe you are mentoring. Maybe you have children. Maybe you are taking over elderly parents and helping them. How fast? They're also showing those science, the matter balls, where they kick each other out, right? How fast can you come back to center when things don't look like they're working out, even if it's just a moment or a day or a week? How fast can you come back? How fast can you release the drama, the psychosis, the neuroses, the negative thinking? Negative thinking is very, very seductive because it can come in the form of physical events that are negative. And for a lot of you, you'll be like, but I can't make my way around it. It's just so negative. It's so real. And it's like, cut through the illusion, come back to center, back to source, back to center, back to source, back to center. It doesn't matter what the illusions are, and the illusions are going to get more and more and more dense as we move through the year because the dark forces are trying to stop the ascension. So the way we move forward is simultaneously educating as many people as we possibly can about what it is to be in an ascension practice, which is what I'm talking about on this stream. The reality of it. You're not just going to escape it. It's not all of a sudden going to be like, oh, the light is shining on me, everything's all bright and good now. It's like, no, it's like always kind of a shit show. And when you know that, there's nothing to chase or run away from or escape to. Like, you're not just going to escape to nirvana. Nirvana just becomes a state of being. It becomes your center. How quickly can you find that center? Do you know how to find that center? If you don't, I have an entire program where I'm going to take you through the mechanics of what that means and expand your little conscious mind and your consciousness so that these dark forces don't come in and try to put you back to sleep, baby girl, baby boy. Okay, Europa, is there anything else you'd like to share? Why do we care so damn much about you humans? I don't know, you tell me. Because you are the very awakening that the entire cosmic seeks, is humanity. That's why there are so many cosmic wars against humanity. It's why the cosmos hate humanity, is because humanity holds the keys to ascension. I've never heard that before. That's cool. Humanity is where we are directly confronting what it is to think we are ascended without being willing to walk the path of the ascension, which is to be human. It is to slow the process down, and it is to shut off many aspects of the cosmic remembering of what is the highest remembering. And all of that remembering becomes a mental complex that becomes so complicated that we forget what it is to release, relax, and walk the fucking path. Just walk. Walk the middle road. Without swinging too far in either direction. Cosmic awakening is human awakening. The reason why there's so much conflict in this time period is because it's not just the human ascension that is under judgment. Universally, multi-universally, everything is under judgment. And what the highest of the powers across all of those different levels of consciousness are looking to do is blame the humans for being the problem, and then allow us to blow the planet up, descend into darkness, move into a fallen state so that they can save the rest of the cosmos. And Europa's like, it's like, she's so over it. She's just like she's awakening as quickly as I am, actually, just in the higher realms, right? And she's showing me right now, she's just like, oh dear God, like I just love it. Like, we're all playing the same game. PST 444. I got all the fours today. Fours are the home number. Home is where the heart is. She's just like really over it. She's like, we're all playing the same game. Everyone is separating humanity from the rest of the cosmos as if humanity is like stupid and the rest of the cosmos is intelligent. But really, humanity is the heartbeat of the all. It is the original awakening of the heart, that Christ consciousness that comes through the heart space, the crystalline consciousness that was introduced into the planet. And what's happened is that the greater cosmos is the head. It's the thinking mind. It's the spiritual ego that has like cut itself off from what it is to slow it down and walk as a human, which is one of the most difficult things that a being can possibly do, because it is to cut off your entire knowledge. It's to cut yourself off from the mind, essentially. The addiction. Oh wow, these are really powerful. Thank you so much. Oh my ascension works the fucking best. Most beings won't talk about this. She's opening it up because I've been doing a lot of work with her. It's to separate the heart from the mind. The child of the soul, the inner child and the soul are the same, which is the same to be human. So the inner child and the soul awakening through your humanity is seen cosmically as like, I just saw an ant on the floor. It's just like, an ant. Like that ant is meaningless in comparison to my holy great power up here in the cosmos. And it's like, actually, it's all the same. Actually, we are all in the one consciousness, unity consciousness. The point is just like, which facet, which character are you taking? What the rhythm of creation, like, what are you flowing in or out of right now? Cosmically, they have so much attention and remembering to all of their aspects of their soul that they forget what it is to be a baby. They forget what it is to be a newborn. They forget what it is to be a student. Those are the highest ascension protocols of humanity, is to be the student. It is to walk through the same template that the cosmos carries. The cosmos is not any more awakened than humanity. It's just in a different expression of that lack of awakening or that awakening, depending on which side of the equation you want to take. So there are many different ways I can speak to this that I certainly will in my private program source code framework, and maybe we'll see how far I'll get on YouTube. But ultimately, if we want to take the bird eye view of the love of the ascension work, it's realizing that to be human is to be divine. And that whatever you're walking through in your humanity is what your higher powers are walking through as well. There's just a little bit more humility in walking the path of the human, because we don't even have any armor on our skin. Like, I have to call, this is also what I've been doing recently. I call God's armor in, and I armor up with God now, because I'm like, I can't handle these satanic forces. Like, I don't want to deal with them anymore. I was like, pull God and put God on me. Like, to be human is to be vulnerable. It's to be weak. It's why they say the meek inherit the earth. The meek, it's not that they're really meek, it's just that we're like squishy, you know? We're squishy. Our minds aren't even as strong as the cosmic mind. Does that put us at an advantage or a disadvantage? Depends on the side of the coin you're on, right? The point is that it's darkness versus light. It's awakening versus being asleep. It's It's all the same. It's the dance. You're in the dance. You're in the dance and the rhythm of creation. There's nothing easy about it, but the ease is coming back to center, knowing who you are. Who are you? Find it out. Find out who you are. Stop trying to pretend you're something you're not. You're not the matrix. You're not the constructed version of you that was created to make you feel safe mentally. Good luck. These are the same problems that cosmically are being worked out by all of the larger cosmic guardianship, by the Most High cosmically. Literally, they're working out the same problems. It's this attachment to their spiritual ego, which is our higher power. How funny is that? Because everything works in like these different cycles of ascension and hierarchy. Their spiritual ego is our higher power. Not without an ego. That's my point. How safe are you? You're as safe as you make up your mind to be right now. So I suggest you start saying you're safe. Oh my God, you're watching me go through an emotional release. What the F? They just hit me with a ton of bricks. You are as safe as you claim yourself to be right now. So you better start saying you're safe. And if you're not safe physically, start changing your fucking environment. If you are not safe emotionally, start pruning out the relationships that hurt your heart, that betray you, that do the things. If you're not safe mentally, if you're around constant mental psychosis, or you are in mental psychosis, you got to work on healing that shit. And if you're not safe spiritually, retreat back to the human consciousness so that spirit has time to work the conflict out before your mind gets compromised in between. That message is for someone, right, that needs to hear that in that way. Okay, Ropa, slam it home, baby girl. This is a time of spiritual and karmic closure. How you navigate the next 3 weeks until April 28th will show you how you will be navigating the rest of your life. This is a long, long cycle. I don't know if that maps out to something astrologically. It must. It's a long cycle. Mind the next 3 weeks very, very carefully, as if you are under a magnifying glass cosmically, as if God is watching every single move you make and deciding whether or not to discard your soul or save you for safekeeping. This is not my language. This is higher guidance language. You are under cosmic judgment, each and every one of you. Humanity as a whole is under tremendous cosmic judgment. And we don't know if the forces are going to swing well. Now, to prevent any panic, she's like, worst case scenario, if it doesn't swing well, I mean, once you exit this plane, you don't have to deal with it. The earth might just blow up and be done. Is that really on the table? Yes and no. She's making it like, yes and no. It's like, there's just so many strains of consciousness working through that are so heavily conflict based. Anyway, circling back. Okay, tell me that again. You said take out the magnifying glass. For the next 3 weeks, inspect your decision-making ability as if God himself or herself is inspecting your abilities on whether or not they are going to save your soul. Not every soul is saved. Some souls are thrown into a burning fire of creation to be turned into ash for the next soul. These are what we call, this is what many people will call purgatory, or what we would call slave souls that are meant to be food for other souls that can maintain their value. This is being said in a way to awaken you to remember that not all souls are saved. Which will you choose, to be saved or not? Man, this is the end of my stream and you hit us home with this? Can you alleviate it, or like, what do you want me to do with this? You are not to alleviate anything, Stormie. What you are here to do is transmit the truth for those that will then cue into their own cosmic guardianship, their cosmic guardian teams overnight while they sleep subconsciously to help them make the choices so that the souls that were meant to be saved will not become slaves inadvertently. They will not become food to the system of the higher realms. Instead, naturally, through a channel of like this, of just pure listening, you will be given guardianship to save your soul. This is not a joke. You will be led in the right direction based on your karma personally and your lineage. The highest, the best of humanity does need to be saved. For the rest are being sent into soul food for other beings. We're not going to try to save you from the complex of thinking that humanity could be saved. It cannot. But the souls that are worthy must be, and to be, they must remember. Part of that remembering is a stream like this, a stream of consciousness, a stream of awakening, a stream of reality through truth. Whether or not your audience agrees or disagrees matter not. The point is that there are guardians working behind the scenes to save those who want to be saved. Allow them to be saved by getting out of the way, as you do, Stormie. She's like, do you want to know what to do next? I'm like, yes. And she's like, this is the not so sexy side of awakening. There are necessities as far as like there are big turning points, big pivotal points where we have to wake up, where it is actually a crisis, life or death point for the soul, spiritually. Some people experience it as like near-death experience, physically, etc. But the soul has been really compromised. Everyone's souls on humanity, on the planet, have been compromised over the last 3 weeks, and that's what the spiritual wars are about. Who gets all the souls? Those of us that start swinging will get our own souls. There's just a really big trade. I'm hearing trade, soul negotiation, but it's almost like the whole planet is being sold or traded off of. I'm not going to channel the rest of that. That would take me another couple hours to work that through, and then I'd feel like I'm in a nightmare crisis again. So I'm going to leave that one. Is there anything else you would like to share in a moment? Not that I know that I want you to, though. You've made this uncomfortable for me, but I'm here. Allow the truth to set those free who need to hear it in this way. There's a reason why they've come to your channel to respect you, that need to hear this so that they can release themselves from the shackles of their own imprisonment within the own darkness of their own mind, where their inner child cannot reign free. The inner child and the soul are the same. They need to be unslaved, no longer a slave. They need to be set free onto the rainbow ascension bridge of creation, and that doesn't just happen. You have to request it. If you want it, request it. If you're listening, request it. Get out of your way. Pray that your soul is saved. I think that's probably the biggest thing I could say for April. Pray that your soul is saved, because I'm as spiritual as they get. I'm very, very conscious in my ascension work. And I'm praying like at least 3 times a day, 3 to 6 times a day, that my soul is kept pure, that my soul is saved. I've had a lot of attacks recently, like terrible, terrible attacks, spiritually, not physically, that I would never wish on anyone. And they're telling me I'm the first rank, which means those are coming. I'm not going to go into it in detail here. I might go into detail on source code, though, as you guys jump in and join. Maybe I'll educate around that. I just got to find a way to do it without causing fear. You really just have to see these things as like facts that you kind of like sift and work through mentally quickly. It's a fast ascension process that allows you to remember so that your higher power, your higher self, and your own Rishi or your oversoul, really you guys are working with the oversoul, and the avatar can step in and rewire and reroute and save your soul. Because when we're part of the Rishi, I don't know how many souls do you manage? It's like having a CEO. Let's look at it this way. The Bodhisattva part of everyone has access to a Bodhisattva version of them, and most of us will not have direct access because you have to have a very, very clear, pure vibration to reach them. It's very, very rare for them to even talk to us. See the Bodhisattva, the Rishi, as a CEO running a Fortune 50 corporation. And your soul in this incarnation is an entry-level associate that just got hired on. When the firing starts, who's leaving first? Not the C-suite. The humans at the bottom. So if you want to be saved, if you want your soul to be protected, you're going to have to pray for it. You have to pray for it. You are entitled to it through prayer. But you need to claim it for yourself. And this is the shit that we forgot. This is the shit that doesn't get translated into the human form. This is what it is to not remember. This is what it is to be human. What she's sharing with me right now is you do have to get the attention of the corporation that is running you. You are one of a fleet of many different personalities and souls under soul hierarchy, under soul guardianship. So start praying that your soul is saved under that guardianship, because they will just like let things go because they don't always see the ants on the ground. But if that ant is screaming in consciousness or very, very vibrant in light and gets the attention of the Rishi, I just saw another ant on the ground, literally. A Rishi like mine, or for you guys, the oversoul, work with the oversoul. That's the easier access point. The oversoul is my constant, so I went for the Rishi. So for you, the oversoul, for me, my Rishi or Bodhisattva steps in and goes, oh, that one's special. Let's make sure we save her soul. But you have to get their attention. You do that through prayer. Through asking, save my soul, keep my soul for safekeeping. I like my soul. Claim my soul for the light, please and thank you. I am not food for any being. That'll make sense for some of you. For others, it won't. I'm sorry. This is a very long curriculum. I need 9 months to describe it. So jump on in and we will talk all about the soul and your remembering and help you to wake up so you can actually claim your dharma, claim your life, because the entire planet and all of the souls on it, all 8-9 billion, whatever it is, are under cosmic negotiation, are being swept under the rug and stomped out, is what I was just told. So if you want to be part of those that are saved, I don't know what that percentage is. Multi-millions, close to 1 billion. But the rest are going to be let go. Now, for you guys to understand, like, it doesn't mean there's a physicality behind that. I was told more recently that it just means that you don't reincarnate again. Meaning like you become food, or you do, but your consciousness leaves. You have no more soul, and you just become the food in the system. There's a big sorting of Earth right now in the shift to 5D, and they're like most of it's just lower consciousness working through humanity. And they're looking to see who the most awakened are. So there's the initial 144,000 that came from star seeds, right? Those are like the chosen ones. And then that branches out. And she's telling me it's about 1 billion on the planet right now that will move into the ascension. So if you want to be part of it, claim it. I assume you do. Just claim it. Get on board. And that's not to negate, to make it like you're negative or anything for not thinking this way. It's like we are in a karmic legal battle cosmically, and you would only know the rules by remembering these higher aspects of your soul and actually learn the rules of how the cosmos works, how ascension works. Study Buddha, study Jesus. Look through and understand the Egyptian gods. They have a lot of conflict, actually. I don't know if I would look at the Egyptian. I got so much to say on that. I know a lot about them. Work with your oversoul. Trust your decision-making abilities. Trust your connection to humanity and the planet. Trust the good. You are as safe as you make yourself out to be. You better start making yourself safe. Quite literally, make the safe decisions to become safe. And make your thoughts safe. Turn yourself into a safe person. Are you safe for your own soul to live in your body? I've got a lot of things to say on that that I just don't have time for in this stream. Are you safe for your own soul to live in body? Most of you, the soul is tethered outside of the body because your body's not safe. It's a long process of becoming safe for the human body. Sorry, safe for the soul to actually be human. Now, she's telling me to loop it right back into source code framework, the monthly membership. The way that I tell stories, the way that I share consciousness is so easy that what she's saying, what it does is it creates a safe expansion so that your soul starts to feel safe coming down into your humanity, because you'll understand the rules of the playing game that you're on. You're on a 5D chessboard. So if you don't understand how chess works to begin with, or chess works at the 5D, you're not going to be safe, and your soul's not going to feel safe here. So your soul will keep its energy up in the cosmos. It won't come down to you. You won't feel fulfilled. You won't have the love of your life or true love. You won't have really fulfilling relationships. You'll just be stuck in karmic cycles. For the soul to be in the human body, the experience has to be safe for the soul. And that's all about what I teach. And is much about the source code monthly membership framework that I'm building, where I'm just going to be telling a lot of stories, talking about consciousness, sharing stories about what I'm going through, because my guides are taking me through a very aggressive ascension journey. That's just the truth. And it's been that way for a long time for me. And when I share what I'm going through, it opens up in people's minds what's actually going on behind the scenes for the pioneering souls, which opens you up to have such a safe journey. It's almost like whether it's me or whether you're following another master, it's like you're drafting off of us. It's like I'm the Mack truck. You know, if you drive right behind a Mack truck, like you save like 30% of your gas, you know, it's like that. I don't know that I'm going to say anything else on that. Check out the landing page. If you guys have questions, shoot me an email. I would love to have you in this journey. It's a closed circuit community. We have a chat board. I have a source code framework course for you guys. It's a series and set of meditations to know what to use when for your transformation process, because it's very, very uncomfortable in awakening through your transformation process. Let me just tell you a little bit about that briefly. Because depending on where you are in your awakening, there are different problems. Those problems, through the last like 6 years, I've been channeling on them and getting downloads on how I've been able to work through my own process for my own ascension. They're meditations, it's energy work, it's energy medicine. So I have an energy medicine key for which activation you need for which circumstance. So like, for example, we go from problem to activation. This is the framework that I've got a bunch of videos in there now, and I'll continue to build out through the end of the year for you guys. And then there's like weekly posts, like videos, educational posts, thoughts, longer streams, shorter streams, where I'm just educating about things that are going on within the current dynamics of ascension work spiritually. So for example, in the framework itself, under my keys, these are the energy medicine codes, depending on what part of your own transformation journey you are in, because we are all working with alchemy as souls spiritually. When we work with ascension, we are working alchemy. So for example, when you feel scared, or your mind is looking to create problems in fear or anxiety, I have an activation for that to solve that problem. When you feel disempowered and look to others for validation, or you feel energy low, meaning you have a lot of vampires attached to you energetically from people in your sacral chakra, I have an activation to help you work through that specific problem through time. When you feel surrounded by people who don't understand you and they're fucking with your vibe, I have an entire matrix. This one's a 30 to 45 day system. You just listen to it once, and your ascended masters, your Akashic records take you through the activation for 30 days. It's like an AI system. It's a consciousness-based system that manages your own energy for you to create a buffer between your reality and everyone else around you, which stops the mirroring of the universe for 30 to 45 days so that you can actually catch up to you without creating more mirroring, more problems. I take all of my clients through this when they're working through really heavy ascension work, heavy transitions. Here's another one. When you feel really disoriented and you don't know how to move forward, or you're questioning the nature of your reality, that's when people slip back and go into either psychosis or major crisis or steep addiction. I have an entire set of, for you to understand, like an activation, a meditation to go through. That one is 30 to 45 days and can be actually done daily to repair your sense of self so that you can manage your light spiritually so you don't go nuts. So you don't have a psychosis, crisis. And we all manage these things. These are the different levels of alchemy. We are all, whenever we're doing alchemy work, whenever we're working with the soul, whenever we're going through spiritual transformation, we are dealing with one of these 7 to 8 issues. And I've got them all outlined in the source code framework to take you through it safely, because otherwise it's a very terrorizing, unsafe process. For example, when you feel lonely or you need to attract material needs, I have a solution for that. In meditation, in a source code, it's part of the source code framework. It's rewiring your ability to connect with material provision. When you feel unsafe or uncertain about the future, I have an activation for that as well. So I've got a bunch of different vibrational energy medicines. Everything comes down to vibration and frequency and alignment. And then I identify the problem and help you solve the problem to move through your transition so that your ascension or your personal growth, your spiritual development is done with ease and a sense of effortlessness instead of struggle and sacrifice and harm and then dissension because you gave up. Perfect. It's a perfect system. I'd say perfectly imperfect. It's kind of like if you guys have ever seen, I have an obsession with earth ships. I would really like to build one. If you guys have ever seen the earth ships, like they're these sustainable off-grid homes. They take like a bunch of trash and garbage and build a home out of it into the earth. It's like really beautiful. It's like we're dealing with a bunch of shit that we have to alchemize. We're dealing with a bunch of darkness and chaos that we have to alchemize psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And it's almost like I'm helping you build your own earth ship with your consciousness, with your cosmic guardians, helping you to understand like who you are, what to make of all of this, what to use, what to build into the ship, whether that ship is you as a star seed cosmically, like doing your ascension work, or whether that ship is actually your heart space. It's your home. The home is the heart. And you being able to manage your heart space without allowing poison or invasion, and while your heart space is self-sufficient, as opposed to needing codependent relationships or having to be reliant on everything else. You know, you become reliant on you. That's the earth ship metaphor. We are also all on an earth ship, literally, the ship of earth, which I do understand is a ship. It's the biggest ship in the cosmos. Earth. Anyway, some food for thought. Enjoy that. Enjoy your little awakening journey. And sign up. Come join me. Look at how much I do on YouTube and think about just how much you're going to get in my programs. Like I keep giving. I am the eternal giver. So please sign up. I'd love to have you. There are many different payment options. If you have any questions, send me an email. If you want me to hold space for your enrollment, if you're not ready yet, but you'd like to enroll, I will hold space for you. I will pray on it for you and help you co-manifest yourself into this community. So come join. I would love to have you, as would my guardians and everyone else who is available in the program. And I hope you guys have an amazing month. I'll do my best to pop in occasionally and try to give some updates. Center yourself, stay centered, pray. Set intentions for safety, for deliverance, and connect to your soul, because if you don't, someone else will. If you don't claim your soul, someone else will. Claim your soul. Convene with your soul. Spend time with your soul. Be intimate with your soul. Whatever that means for you. I'm going to end it here because I feel like this could be another 5-hour workshop. You guys know me. Those of you that have worked with me are like, she can keep going. Like, I will make it 10 hours. I'm like, we have a lot to talk about. You don't understand. I have a lot to educate. All right, that's what I got. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I'm sending you all the love, as always. I don't think I did the intro, so on the exit, Stormie Calder here. Subscribe. Come follow me for all of the spiritual high performance business, and I will see you guys soon. Alrighty, peace.